So I am still posted up in beautiful Kigali at the moment. And this last week, I've been in a variety of different places. Over the weekend, I had a nice trip down to a farm over in the south part of Rwanda. Got back here and just been working heavy on the franchise business. And this week, one of the big things which popped up was that a franchise informed us a while ago that she wanted out. She wanted to sell her business. She wanted to close down. She just wanted out. And, this isn't the first closure or even internal transfer we've had, but it's always a little bit shocking to still deal with it, right? And me as the franchisor, I always get involved because I want to make sure this is the right fit and this is, what the person should be doing. So I'm going to explain today exactly how we handled it as franchise and some key lessons I think everyone should know about what it means to be a business owner in the franchise system. So here's the background. Franchisee started a few months ago, maybe like under 4 months ago, doing really well in her location, doing really well. I think extremely highly of this person, her capabilities, her sales skills. Like, she was just a perfect fit from what I saw coming into the system. She reached out a while ago and said, hey, I don't think this is the right fit. And what she meant is she doesn't think entrepreneurship's the right fit for her right now. It was making her stay up at nighttime. It's causing a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure. There's probably a few other things going on that was causing this to compound. She still had her other job and that was starting to ramp up. So there was just a lot of pressure going on there. The first thing I did, and I've had these conversations before with people, is ask, what do you actually want to do? And my job is to try to figure out what's the actual goal of this person. Like, what do they actually want to do? Is this a temporary emotion? If so, are there things we could do to help alleviate that so that this person can actually get to the end goal? So a big phrase I always use is do not make a permanent decision based off a temporary emotion. Many times on the entrepreneurship journey, it's like doomsday, right? Something happens, you're like, dude, I don't want to do this. I just want the pain to stop. I don't want to be in this situation again. And the truth is, it's always ebbs and flows. It's not like you're going to be in this painful situation forever. That's how it is in entrepreneurship. It goes up and down, up and down. It's not as steady like this. So part of it is understanding these are the flows. If you're in a low right now, is this temporary? If so, are you making a permanent decision based off of temporary emotions? When you're early on in entrepreneurship, all these things feel catastrophic because maybe you haven't had this. Maybe at work, it's been mostly steady. Maybe in life, it's been mostly steady. But entrepreneurship by nature is not steady. And so you don't understand that these are just the ebbs and flows of it. So first thing I do is ask that, like, is this a temporary emotion? Let's chill, come back to it in a couple weeks. Here's what to think about. After a couple weeks, this person came back and said, hey, I still want out. I hear the plan, Neil, I hear what you want to do, but I just don't think entrepreneurship's for me. Now, I've heard of franchise systems like hardlining it, saying, great, you can close down, you still have to pay the fees in your FDD or, try to convince this person to stay. My honest question to her was, okay, if that's truly what you want, I will help you achieve it. Right? Like, I'm not here to force someone to join the system and be in the system if they don't want to be. I'm not here to force someone to pay fees if it doesn't make any sense for them anymore in terms of like closing down and selling whatever. That's just not the point of this. The point of made this is to be an on-ramp for people who want to be entrepreneurs. Maybe people have had, before they join, a little bit dabbling in entrepreneurship here and there, but this is their first real time in business. And I want to provide the tools and tricks and trades and support to help them get there. Now, if it comes out that this person does not want to be an entrepreneur, that's okay. That's totally fine. I'm happy you got clarity in what this is. So what happened in this situation is talked to this franchise location, figured out what she actually wanted. And, she asked, is there anyone in the system who might want to buy this from me? And we have a list of people who are qualified to be multi-unit operators, right? You have to be on a certain revenue path, have certain capabilities, be full-time, and then you're qualified to own multiple units. So we said, yeah, there's actually this list you could go to and figure out who might be a good fit for what you're looking for. She got to talking to one of the other franchise locations who's doing fantastic, who's crushing it, and turns out to be a perfect fit, right? The beauty of the made this model, in my opinion, is like, it's not storefront, so it's not like someone in Oklahoma would never be bought by someone from California because the California person's like, I'm not flying out to Oklahoma. Everything is kind of remote. So when things are properly set up, you know what you're doing, things are at a certain size, you can run it remotely. It's much more beneficial if you actually have ties to the market, all that kind of good stuff, because it just helps compound stuff. Anyways, the people buying it are already in the franchise system. They already have their own VA. So they have operations scale support. They know that market well because they go there all the time. They're doing well already. They know how digital marketing works. This location, which is selling, things were working. It's just this person didn't want to be in it anymore. So things were working. It wasn't like it was going bad. So it was almost like a perfect fit. So we just connected them and said, cool, why don't you guys talk? Let us know what you want to do. And they figured out sale prices worked and closed in like record time. In a couple of weeks, they were already closed and currently are transitioning from one owner to the other. The franchisee who's selling, she was able to recoup some of her fee. I Probably not making back all her money, but at least she had the clarity. At least she wasn't dumping more time, which is the most valuable resource, into a new career of entrepreneurship that she didn't want to be in. I think that clarity is extremely valuable. The truth is, if she probably wasn't in a franchise system, there'd be no opportunity. If you run a cleaning business with a few $1,000s per month in revenue, you're not going to be able to sell this thing really. Like, you can sell it for scraps to anything, but there's inherent value generally in a franchise system. It's also because it's easy for someone to take it over because the systems are the same. So I'm happy it was a graceful exit, maybe not the perfect exit, but it's things to deal with. On mine, I'd never like to see people go. Like, if someone shuts down, which you've had a couple of these, someone sells, we've had a couple of these, it kind of sucks, I guess. At least the first time it kind of sucked, where you want everyone to win. I personally want everyone to win. And the truth is, not everyone's going to win. Right. And I think part of that's based off of like tactical stuff, or just they have a shift in what they actually want out of life, which is totally okay. And this one falls firmly in the bucket of, I think this person who's selling is capable. If she wanted to do it, she'd absolutely crush it. I think it's extremely highly of this person, but she didn't want to be an entrepreneur anymore. In that case, this is the right decision to sell and exit. It makes me go back to like how we're qualifying people to enter the franchise system. I think a lot of franchise systems I've heard say like, hey, anyone could do this. Anyone could be an entrepreneur, anyone could do this. And I think that's technically true, but there's some caveats of whether you really want to do it and you have the grit for it, or you were sold a dream by being an entrepreneur. I do think in Western society, being an entrepreneur is a little bit glamorized, right? Like taking a risk, betting on yourself. That's kind of the American dream, the culture. So some people want to try their hand at entrepreneurship, which I think personally everyone should. For me, it's been life-changing. I want people to experience entrepreneurship, get the benefits from it. But there might be a point where you realize, man, this is really not for me. And hopefully you didn't take out a $500,000 SBA loan and open up an office and a storefront with a 10-year lease on it, because then you're kind of screwed. With a system like this, like with Made This, it's low cost, right? It's not going to ruin your life. You're not mortgaging your whole house to start something like this. So you can make those micro pivots if you want. But it kind of goes back to like, how do you vet ahead of time who should get into entrepreneurship or not? And it's really hard. Like, there's no way I could have known this person maybe didn't like being an entrepreneur after the time. Like, it's so hard to vet who's going to crush it or not, right? And I think that goes back to like something I'm still working with is, how do you figure this out? There's people who I thought like, man, maybe they don't have the entrepreneurship gene to get in the system and they're crushing it. It's so hard to figure out who's actually going to do extremely well or not. There's some commonalities I know, right? Like, if you don't have enough time, it's going to be really freaking tough. If not very resourceful, it's going to be really tough. If you don't have the ability to like go through down months and not freak out, it's going to be really tough. Like, there's basic stuff that I know everyone needs, but beyond that, like, it's really hard to pinpoint, hey, this personality type is always going to win, this personality type is always not going to win. It's not something that I've been able to crack, or I don't think at this point kind of exists. But generally, I think people who are coming into the system, coming out of the franchising, I think a good question to ask based off of this would be, are you sure you want to be an entrepreneur? That's a big thing. Or are you fed something internally, or externally, of external pressure saying, hey, I should try to be an entrepreneur. I should do this. Society expects it. It's going to be better. I get prestige, whatever. If it's all external pressure that's making you want to be an entrepreneur, I don't think you should do it. Like, I don't think everyone should do it. Many times for most people, they'll be way happier in 9 to 5. But if there's kind of an internal motivation of like, hey, I really want to try my hand at this, I want to do it, I always want to do it, I'm going to regret not doing it, I think that's a different story. So I would take this lesson and this story as a testament of, if you want to be an entrepreneur and try it, give it a shot. Just don't bet the farm on it, right? Do it in a way where you're still vetting whether you want to do it. You can get out with your skin still. And if you feel like maybe you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you should probably vet that ahead of time before you do anything, because you don't want to go down the wrong path for a very long time. So that's what I'm dealing with this week in the franchise world, Diary of a Franchisor. I'm sure many things like this are going to happen again. We have the SOPs and processes to make this happen. For example, like a few months ago, we didn't have this multi-unit qualification thing. Like, these are ongoing iterations, so keep going. But this is the first transfer of the year, and that's what I dealt with this week.